Hello there. So we've got smarmy lawyers and advisors selling the UK off, have we? Well, what a surprise. Not. Firstly, please give this video a like to give my channel a boost, and I'm always uploading new videos, so please do check back daily. Now we hear that the Chinese government might be using the cover of this medical crisis that it caused to further bolster its own agenda. The Mail on Sunday reports that political figures and advisors who profit by helping the Chinese regime to target British businesses are to be investigated by MPs, because there are concerns that Beijing is taking advantage of the cover this global healthcare crisis provides in order to advance its own commercial interests. Now, the only fingers not pointing at China as the source of this crisis are those of the Chinese Communist Party, which is trying to deflect blame onto Donald Trump and the US, and probably anyone else they think they can get away with. But what I find strange is the lack of diplomatic news on this whole affair. When we had the poisoning case in Salisbury on the 4th of March 2018, everyone blamed the Russians. Putin said it wasn't, but within the month, by the 27th of March, more than 20 of our Western allies had purged themselves of over 100 Russian diplomats, or more probably Russian spies. Yet we have not even had a peep about any carpeting of the Chinese ambassador, have we? All we've had is Dominic Raab saying that it will not be business as usual with China once this is all over. But we have also had a report from Sky News a couple of days ago that according to the Chinese embassy in London, Dominic Raab has assured them that the healthcare crisis will not be politicised, and that he also fully agrees with China that the source of the crisis is a scientific issue that requires a professional and science-based assessment. And as Sky News says, if the UK has made such assurances, it will be seen as siding with China in a growing international row. So what is going on here? Is all this inaction down to our Prime Minister Boris Johnson being out of commission until just recently and no one's prepared to grasp the nettle? Surely not. Or is the argument that if we do expel Chinese diplomats, then they might not give us information on how they dealt with the crisis? Well, I do have to ask, do you really think that they've been open and honest with us and have given us any truly accurate data or information? There are serious doubts about that, and that surely is excuse enough to send a diplomatic message. They've also sent us a load of faulty testing equipment though, haven't they? And yes, it would be possible to repatriate those Chinese diplomatic officials if need be, because it's already well established that jetliners are still flying all over the place. And a quick aside on that one. Many people are accusing the government of an oversight, idiocy or negligence by keeping the planes flying and airports open. But apart from getting trapped UK citizens back from holidays and visits abroad, there might be other reasons in play to keep those planes flying. I say this because when something as obviously against common sense as allowing people to fly in from anywhere and wander about unchallenged is taking place, then it cannot be a mistake. And reasons like the diplomatic bag spring to mind, and also the possible need to quickly transport other unknown items and even people around the globe and back for various other purposes. And keeping some commercial flights going would provide a modicum of cover for all of that. I'm not claiming that's true, it's just an observation. Anyway, back on topic, why aren't we expelling Chinese diplomatic staff? And now we hear that there are worries that China might see this as a nicely timed opportunity to start buying lumps of Britain and all assisted by greedy political types and professional advisors. Now, the Mail on Sunday names names and companies they say are engaged in this sort of thing. I haven't got deep enough pockets to indulge in that though, but I advise you to go and have a read of the article yourself. But the impression I get is that some rather unscrupulous people have decided that the UK is now a prime target for asset strippers, and those asset strippers are not Trump's US corporations looking to destroy our National Health Service. Because after this episode, anyone touching the NHS will come a serious cropper. And in a separate article for the Mail, the Tory MP and chair of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, Tom Tugendhat, says that we have, in the UK, our own suited Svengalis, those members of the governing and business class who are happy to do our rivals' bidding, whose actions are truly shameful. In his article, Tugendhat says that the UK is a great place to do business because of the international trust in our business systems and our approach to the rule of law. But he said that some of our own professional service firms have forgotten that trust underpins their position as well as that of the country. So while they're indulging in their get-rich-quick schemes, they are pulling bits out of the trust that makes the UK so attractive. Well-heeled lawyers and slick accountants, he writes, taking eye-watering fees from oligarchs aren't just helping silence critics through British courts or to turn questionable profits into seemingly honest businesses, they're undermining the foundations on which they've built their business. They're cheapening the value of their words. But that probably won't worry the vast majority of these fast buck chasers. They're probably planning to be well gone by the time the UK's business community has sunk into a cesspool of anarchy and corruption. And they'll just explain it away as good business sense anyway. And Tugendhat quotes Vladimir Lenin on this, who was reputed to have said, "The capitalists will sell us the rope with which we will hang them." And I will just remind everyone that Tom Tugendhat is a Conservative Party MP, and he's the one complaining about sharp business practice. And I say sharp practice because I don't doubt that just about all of this activity is just about, by a knife edge, legal. It's not about illegal practice, it's more about business that is allowed to erode our values and our norms. And as Tugendhat says, this must stop. Because true capitalism is built on good business practice, transparency, fairness, justice and the rule of law. Anything else is just pure crony capitalism, an altogether different beast. But a beast that true capitalism will always tend towards unless it's very carefully guarded and guided. So it is good to read that the Mail on Sunday understands that the Cabinet Office is considering tightening up the coming National Security Investment Bill that will give the government more powers to block deals that threaten national interests. But that bill is not yet in the legislative pipeline, and given the current global situation, it should probably be given a bit of a fair wind. We need to act now, or risk seeing a fire sale of UK assets with things like property and patents ending up owned by people and agencies under the sway of Beijing or other equally odious outfits. Now, Parliament is due to reconvene after a long recess this coming Tuesday the 21st of April. But the Speaker of the House of Commons, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, has already asked MPs to stay away from Parliament, and he's unveiled plans for a hybrid system so that meetings can take place remotely. We're even on for a virtual Prime Minister's question time Wednesday lunchtime, when 120 MPs will use Zoom to give the Prime Minister a grilling. And up to 50 MPs could be allowed to attend House of Commons debating sessions, but there will be strict social distancing rules in place. So instead of the two thick red painted lines between the government and opposition benches set at over 2 swords lengths apart, will we see thick red lines painted on the green benches as well? However, the consequence will probably be a more slowly grinding parliamentary process, just when something like a bill to protect important UK assets is needed quickly. Because one of the hidden parts of all this is that the normal oiling of the political wheels caused by politicians and officials rubbing shoulders on a daily basis will no longer be there. It will also distance MPs from each other and their ministers. But it will also remove the whole face-to-face lobbying process where corporate, charity and trade organisations attempt to get MPs and peers to support changes in policy and law. That might save some political time. Now, without this current crisis, I have no doubt that Brexit would still be the overriding topic of political discussion. So there has been one positive outcome for Brexiteers, which is that we have had a break from the constant sighting of a twit in a blue and gold-starred hat and cape, armed with a megaphone, trying to work his way into every camera shot that he can outside Parliament. But getting back to selling off the UK by the pound to the likes of China, we need to block anything that could asset strip our country of valuable physical and intellectual property as a result of this healthcare crisis, especially if those who created it end up as the major beneficiaries of it. But if we aren't prepared to even take diplomatic action, then what action will we be prepared to take, and when? Anyway, if you want to hear more from me, please don't forget to subscribe and also press that little bell, or you won't get any notifications. And if you want to see more of me, buy a mug with my mug on it. So what do you think about a fire sale of UK assets to China? Please share and comment, and thank you for watching.